We are recording. Okay, so for those who are absent today, they will be able to hear this tonight when they're at home eating Honey Nut Cheerios and Monster. Okay, distance. Would you agree, if I'm trying to find the distance between these two lines, or these 2 points, I could just create myself a right triangle, right? And I could use what? There we go. Better. Thank you. What I need to know before I can find that hypotenuse is I got to know the length of both of those sides of that right triangle. How would I do that? Well, I'd take this x, which is 5, and I'd subtract the other x, which is 2, and I get a length of 3. I take my two y's, 9 and 7, subtract those, I get 2. And Pythagorean theorem will help me to find the length of d. So 2 squared plus 3 squared equals d squared. That's 4 and 9, that's 13. So d equals the square root of 13. Now the distance formula is just a generic version of that. Right triangles we're going to work with a ton. Now let's do it with general terms. x1, x2, y1, y2. I draw the same right triangle. To get this length, I take x2 minus x1. To get this length here, I take y2 minus y1. And Pythagorean theorem, this might start to show up in your head here a little bit. You're like, oh, I remember that. Why is that x squared? Let's go back a second. Too far. x2 minus x1 squared, bless you, plus y2 minus y1 squared equals, we'll call it d squared. And if I take the square root of that, does this look familiar? That's going to equal, I'm going to put it over here, our distance formula. That's where it's derived from. Cool. All right, let's continue. I think we do a little something with midpoint here next. Oh no, we do an example. Take a moment with your neighbor and pay attention to what happens when you square 7 square root of 5. Find the length for d. All right, let's come back together here. We found the difference of our x's to be 6, difference of our y's to be 2 root 5. Any issues with that? Great. When we square those, 6 squared we know is 36. What is 2 root 5 squared? 20. We square the 2, we square the square root of 5. 2 squared is 4. Square root of 5 squared is 5, so we get 20. Is this going to be a nice length? Is it going to be a whole number? The answer to that is no. But we can reduce this radical. Is there a perfect square that goes into 56? The answer to that is yes. How many times is 4 going to 56? 14. So our distance is square root 4, square root 14. Still mathematically kind of JV-ish. Let's reduce it. That would be an exact answer. I don't know, units, maybe centimeters or feet or meters, whatever it might be. If you're asked for a decimal on the AP Calc exam, they ask you to round to 3 decimal places at all times. Doesn't matter if you truncate or round up or down. Doesn't matter. Okay. All right, let's continue. Midpoint formula. Somebody's got to know it out here. What do I do with my x's? And then what do I divide by? 2. I add them together and divide by 2. Same thing with my y's. All right, I'm going to take my x values, add them together, take my y values, add them together, divide by 2. Let's see what this works out to be. My x's, well, that's square root of 12 plus square root 75 divided by 2. Can I add those together yet? Oops. Square root 12, square root 75. Ben, can you add those 2 together right now? It's not the square root of 87. No, you can't. You can't. Only farmersonly.com can add those two together. So we got to see if they have a common radical. If we can reduce those two radicals and they're in the same form, they have a common radical attached, then we can add them together. So what perfect square goes into 12? 4. How many times? 3 times. How about 475? 25. How many times? 3 times. I like that. Farmersonly.com says they got something in common. Oh, it's still there. Good. So I have now 2 root 3 plus 5 root 3 divided by 2. And over here, I'm going to have 14 divided by 2, which is 7. We can go further. Not much further. 2 and 5 is 7. That's not going to work out to be very pleasant. So here is our midpoint. 7 root 3 over 2, comma 7. This is not as aesthetically pleasing. Doesn't that just kind of feel yucky to you? Yeah, I don't like decimals along with radicals. Yeesh. Okay. Okay, let's continue. Homework. Cool. Should we do a couple together? Okay. I'm going to pause this real quick. Actually, I'm going to stop it. Can I stop? Stop.